lights up.
Okay, we're live. So it's funny because we do this countdown, and those that are listening to the podcast don't know that there's a countdown. So we want to actually officially introduce for a moment, but you can't see it on the podcast, and you guys can't see it yet because there's a countdown. But T-Bone wore, what is it? Tropical Tuesday, T-Bone?
Well, it's just a Brazilian sort of a carnival shirt, like sort of skinny shirt, you know?
Dude, I can't wait. You might have to speak right into that microphone so we're even, because I tend to eat my microphone up when I go. All right. I'm going to get this freaking thing going. All right. Here we are. We're live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Current Surf Show. I'm your host, Old Surf Dad, and with me is T-Bone. It's 1:30 in Los Angeles. It's 4:30 a.m. in Western Australia, and we both just woke up.
Oh, yeah. Good
T-Bone,
morning,
I told you that shirt was not going to disappoint you guys. Look at that thing. Yeah, I may back off my microphone a little bit, but if you can be right up in there, T-Bone, as you drink your coffee.
No worries, buddy.
Dude, there's so much to talk about. It's a packed show. I'm going to jump right in it. And what I want to do is, again, reemphasize that this is a live show that will be rebroadcast on YouTube just after the show. And it's also available as a podcast. Thanks for everybody who's downloading the podcast. It's been more popular than I expected. Thank you all for listening. So what I want to first do is go into the fantasy league, and we'll talk about the fantasy league real quickly. Let me get on to that. So if the WSL did their numbers right, and sometimes they change a few days later, but it looks like Muller is the Vivo Rio fantasy champion. He came in number one. Wow. And it was Muller, Hofried, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Peter Perinera, and Rafa Tom. Congratulations, you guys. Muller, reach out to me. I think I have your email in my subscribers list. You've been around for a while, but please reach out through the oldsurfdad.com website. On the About page, there's a contact form there. Now, let's talk about overall. There was a slight shift in rankings. Madeirans went down a little bit, and João Sardo is now number one, leading the top five. Let's read the top five. Again, the big three that have been in my league for years, man. It's João Sardo, Madeirans, TJ Art. I never say that right. I'm sorry. It's Jart, I believe is how you pronounce that. Totally Nar and Nick coming in at number five. And dude, this is for the big prize. And the big prize looks like this. It is the John Trophy, or Surfboard on a Trophy Base. And I'm going to show it again. Let's get it out of the glare. There's John's autograph. He autographed that for me in El Salvador. That thing's sweet, dude. Look at the tail on that bad boy.
Awesome, man.
Isn't that pretty cool? And that's Eye Candy miniature surfboards if you want to get a miniature surfboard. And I don't have this there. That's suits us up. Let me fix that. All right. So, T-Bone, I want to start the show and talk about Tamayo Perry real quickly. I think that you've met him or know him. I'm going to just talk about, there's a couple comments I'm going to get to in just a moment. Welcome to the show, everybody. The only thing I wanted to say about Tamayo is, and I was at best an acquaintance of his, and you may have seen this photo that's up right now on my Instagram. And this I shot at Pipeline. I shot Pipeline quite a bit in the early 2000s. I was a working photographer in Hawaii, but my main thing was I was big on Waimea and Sunset and some of those waves. And I used to sell my photos to people. But one of the guys that I gave my photos to was Tamayo Perry, just because he was a nice guy, but he was also like heavy in town, man. He was an enforcer. And I wanted to be on the right side of a lot of the locals, and Tamayo was one of them, but he wasn't heavy in the sense of, yeah, he was just a great dude. And he was always, him and his wife were always at the beach Pipeline. I'd see him every time I was down there. And so if you guys saw the shot before this, he's dropping in on a second reef bomb, and he comes flying through the inside, and you notice he's not wearing a leash and he's not wearing a helmet. And just after this,
Wow.
I think it might have been the following season, or it might have been later in this season, he got scalped. Some guy let his board go, and he got scalped in his head, and he started wearing a helmet. And this is the next shot of Waimea Bay, and I don't know if you can make this out. I went up above Foodland and shot like through the tree to get a different angle on Waimea Bay, and that's Tamayo with a helmet just charging like that. It was so much bigger than it looks, bro. It's just so heavy. You can see the sections in the wind and the lumps, and he loved this picture. This is like, he goes, dude, I got so many pipe shots of me, but this is cool. And so I was stoked, like, to give it to him, and to, like, his energy was really good, and I think you've heard that from a lot of people. T-Bone, you've met him, and I know Adzi, I think, is pretty close to him. Any words you want to say about Tamayo?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I didn't really know the guy. I know he used to come over and spend a lot of time up north and northwest of WA. And Adzi knows him really well and spent many sessions up in the northwest. I actually was I sat next to him on a plane from Perth to Sydney, and super nice guy. We just chatted about music and surfing, and he just sort of straight away you could sense he had a great energy, and really nice guy, and obviously when he got to the water, he just was an amazing surfer. So really sad news to hear, bud.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big takeaway. Like, this was shocking to me when I heard it. He was bigger than life, and speaking of that, there is going to be a paddle out Saturday, July 13th. If you live on Oahu, it's at Aukai Beach Park. It's at 3 p.m. So go ahead and attend that if you're in the spirit of aloha. Hey, T-Bone, your mic is very faint. I don't know.
That,
yeah, I think you're gonna have to, like, be right up in it, and I've turned the music.
Might even have to hold it, eh?
You know what? That might be better. Like, just get up in there like you're Al Michaels on the football.
There we go. How's that, bud?
I think it's better. Yeah, right there in the side. But don't block your beautiful face. We want to see everything. So there's a paddle out, and rest in peace, my man. This is such a sad story, and I want to move on, man. I really want to move on, and let's talk about the Vivo Rio Pro, and we're going to do high-low, and this is one of our favorite games. And T-Bone, I'm going to turn it over to you for your highs. Tell me about your highs from the Vivo Rio Pro.
Mate, as you can see how I'm dressed, I've just come out of the Rio de Janeiro nightclub. Just went to the after party after the contest, mate. So,
nice.
Hey, what a party it is over there. So, it's in a little bit of a different time zone over here. So I got to watch a little bit of it at night. But some of my highs, I'll start off with the first one. Sawyer Lindblad, mate. 18 years of age, first year on the big leagues. Another runner-up. It was pretty cool. I was listening to the post-heat interview with Caitlin Simmers, and apparently her and Sawyer have been friends since they were 11 or 12 and surfing against one another. So they obviously know one another really well. So
yeah,
I think she's really strong. She beat Caroline Marks. She beat Tatiana. Unfortunately, had a shocking final, but I think she's really impressive, mate. I think she's got a bright future. The young 18-year-old from San Clemente. So yeah, coached by Snake Patterson. So yeah, no, it was cool to see, mate. Definitely having a great second half of the year.
Yeah, for sure. I said that in El Salvador. I picked her, like, she was a pretty obvious pick in TRC, but she just has all those skills, and I watched her free surfing, and I was so impressed with her surfing. So who else you got for a high, or what else?
Mate, So my second one, I'll stick on the females because I think the ladies, just performing so well. I'd have to say Gabriella Bryan again, mate. Another solid performance.
Yeah.
And the main reason why I think it's a high, I mean, we met her at Margaret River. Super nice person, so friendly. She's coached by Dog Marsh, and the big thing for her is she's in the top five. So what she's had. I was watching that semi-final against Katie Simmons. She had the highest scoring wave of that heat. It just
Yep.
couldn't back it up. She
Yep.
could have made that final.
She was
runner up and out.
ripping in that heat. She
Oh,
had
mate.
such a good gouge in that heat, man.
Oh, she looks really good, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Great, having a great year. Obviously Margaret River did really well. Runner up in El Salvador, and going away with a third in Brazil, and going into the top five, heading to Fiji. Yeah, she's looking good, mate. She's looking really good. So stoked for her. Yeah, it's interesting how the international women continue to dominate Brazil, whereas the men are still be dominating by the Brazilian surfers. So. And just saying that, my last high, mate, I'm gonna
That's
have
a
to
good
go.
point. That is a good point. It is an international lineup if you go back in time, and the only Brazilian woman to, I believe, win was Silvana Lima back in the day. But anyway, carry on. To your men's, you were gonna say,
Yeah, mate. I was gonna say Yago Dora. I'm gonna make a call right now. Dark horse to win the world title. I mean,
look at you.
I know. What a phenomenal back half of the season this guy's
God,
having.
really.
Second final in a row. And you know what? I was watching that final. If he made a couple of those airs, I mean, he could have. I think he could have taken that final out for a second year in a row.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think he had some of the highest scoring waves of the event. Just looked really good. So I was pretty stoked for him. Once again, super nice guy. And what I liked about Yago, Italo's obviously doing the going up and down on the beach and the jet ski celebrating. Yago stayed on the beach, gave Italo, the hug and congratulated him. He's a really good sport, and
He sure is.
He's a good lad. So yeah, really like him, and stoked for him. He's just outside the top five, but I had a quick look at his record in Fiji. He actually had a wild card back in 2017 against Joel Parko. He got knocked out early, but what I have noticed about Yago, mate, he's got some really good results in lefts. Chopu and pipes. I'm thinking Fiji, he's a dark horse, buddy.
I think so. And look at that research that T-Bone has done for the show. Thanks, dude. I mean, like, that's what we like to do. We like to nerd out. We like to look at numbers. We like to look at old highlights. I think it's important to kind of predict what's going to happen. And I love that call and agree with you. Yago's just a great guy. He speaks several languages. When everyone was in Spanish was asking him questions, he was answering in Spanish. His English is like almost perfect. I mean,
yeah, really good.
And he's just chill, man. He's just, nothing really seems to bug him. And he's super authentic, if I may overuse that word again. Let me read a couple comments. Hey, Kitty, welcome back. Glenn, what is happening? Interesting. We're going to get into this in a second, but he says, if JJF were the world champ, JJF would be the world champ if not for the Final Five BS. And I haven't done the numbers, but I believe that would probably be correct. There's one event left in Fiji, and we're going to get more into that in a moment. The Brazilian fans, man, no one comes to the events like they do, and we're going to get into that too. It's crazy. Would you say? Sorry, yeah.
Hey, just one other high. I have to say the energy on the beach. I know we'll probably might touch on it later, but you can't beat it anywhere in the world. Brazilian fans are absolutely amazing. They are high octane, high energy. There must be free Red Bull on the beach down in Brazil.
I think so, man. I mean, if there is free Red Bull, Elo's drinking half of it, which brings up my highs and lows. Oh, well, by the way, Zaid, hey, welcome back, Zaid. Always glad to have you in the show. My local beach break is 100 times better than Itaiuna. And I think a lot of people can say that. I can say that where T-Bone lives, you drive past 100 Itaiunas to get to all the good waves. There's so many places, beaches like that out and around. But anyway, I'm going to jump into my highs, and I'm going to just start with the champions. And I'll tell you that Idolo's at number 4, and I'm going to start with Idolo because he not only came out like a Red Bull amped, like super fan on the beach, but he just loves surfing, man. And I love his energy, and he came out strong. And yeah, he does the airs, and some of his airs were like launching higher than anyone else. I agree that Iago could have probably beat him if he had landed some of his airs. But what impressed me most about Idolo was he was mixing in some new turns. Did you see some of the down carves and some of the on-rail surfing he was doing, which is different, which we don't usually expect from Idolo? And I give him a lot of props. And my moment was when he poured his Red Bull into the mascot's beak. Like, well done, Idolo, man. It was freaking awesome. So congratulations to Idolo. And, did you have a comment on that one?
I think Idolo was pouring Red Bull over anyone. I think I did see his dad get, he was pouring Red Bull over his dad.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And that was a great story, too. His old man was there. And, like, think about this, man. Idolo pulled down $100,000 for that, right? That's probably, I don't know, a lifetime of money that a fisherman like his dad would get, man. And 100%. Like, good for him.
Yeah.
It's a great story. And great story continued. Katie Simmers. She's wearing the yellow jersey. She's qualified for the WSL finals. It's going to be hard as hell to beat her in a right-hand point or any beach break. Here she's gone back-to-back in Rio, and she just has some kind of magic. But it was so interesting. T-Bone, she went into the elimination round, and Tina beat her. And then she came back with that wave in the last, I don't know, it was a buzzer beater like last minute. And just cool as you can be, drops in and cracks a couple lips and rides to the beach and wins the heat. And I was like, I'm going to lose my power surfer right here. What the hell? And there she goes, just she seems to have no, I don't know, stress in those situations. She's just wired differently. What are your thoughts on that, T-Bone?
Mate, she's amazing. She's only 18.
Jeez.
Only same age as Sawyer. When you watch her surf, it looks like she rides, to me, it looks like she always rides a longer, wide board for her body size. It just looks like she's in such control and still on edge with her surfing. So,
yeah.
No, she was on the pump, almost going to be knocked out, and came back. So showed a lot of maturity for 18, from a competitive surfing standpoint. So, man, yeah, stoked for her. And I love her post-heat interviews. They're just so natural and funny. She's just a regular. Where's she from? Oceanside, mate, in California.
Yeah. And Oceanside's a cool little town. Like, I surfed there a lot when I lived in San Diego. It's open to a lot of south swell. So if you live in San Diego, which is more west northern facing type of surf, I used to drive up to Oceanside and just get open beach break, and it's always a little bigger up there in the summer. And it's a neat little blue collar kind of town, like a small version of maybe Newcastle or something like that is the best I could relate it to. The other thing I was going to say about Katie is, and she had done this same thing the year before. She was in the elimination round when she won last Rio Pro. I think I'm pretty sure she was in with Tatiana Weston Webb, and that's a hell of an elimination round heat to be in. And then when she won Portugal last year, or maybe it was last year, she was in the elimination round there too. So like, don't count people out when they go the elimination round. You never know what's going to happen, especially Katie Simmers, the way she handles herself.
God, yeah, mate, definitely. And she's well and truly locked her ticket. She's going to Trestles.
Yeah, I think she can win there. That's going to be, I can't wait to see who makes it. And we're going to talk about all that in upcoming shows. Hey, if you're enjoying this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You'll know when we're going to do our next show. And also I talked about the John Trophy for the fantasy league, and the league is closed, but what you want to do is go online on my oldsurfdad.com website, and you can register for the newsletter, and you'll get an update when I start next season's fantasy league. And I'll have another surfboard for that one. I've already got it in the works. I can't wait to present what's going on there. It's going to be pretty cool. I want to move on to my lows. I'm going to do my lows and you'll do your lows, T-Bone. My other low was Sammy Pupo and Zhao Chianca, my 2 TRC picks, dude. This is a final. This could have potentially been a final, and both of them just completely flamed out. I'll be honest, I was shocked. And who came out of Tier C? Connor O'Leary. And good for him.
I got one good pick.
Yeah. Did you have that pick?
Yeah, I did.
Right on, man. You also, we should mention this. T-Bone was brave enough to power Sawyer Lindblad, and no one else did that.
Didn't help me though.
it didn't, but it was close. It could have been a different story. Anyway, so that was one of my lows. My other low, hey, just so you guys know, when you're on your phone on the WSL app, it comes up with this privacy statement and do you want cookies? And nobody likes this cookie thing. It's ridiculous. Like, can we just get rid of all this already? But it keeps popping up in the app. You don't have to go in there and push the buttons and restate what you want. You can just scroll up. If you scroll up, that thing will go away. So that's what you get from this broadcast, is good information like that. It's so annoying. WSL, please fix this. That was one of my lows. And here's my next low. And dude, T-Bone, do I say this every time I come online? You guys keep the camera on the action we don't want to see. What percent of surfing is actual surfing in an event? 2%? I want to see every drop of that 2%. And I'm going to play you a video clip of what happened right here. And this is just one example. The other example is every time they interviewed Katie, somebody was getting a ride and they were screaming. They couldn't even hear her. It was out of control. But anyway, let's watch this Mitchell Salazar clip. You ready?
Perfectly honest, looking at my perspective right here as he's up and riding right now. Right back out there, Joe, and it seems like he has a good combination going right here.
Thank you very much, Mitchell Salazar.
Dude, Are you kidding me? Like, they keep the camera. Mitch is already like, hey, they've cut away. They don't need to see me. They can listen to my voice. But how did you miss all of that? It frosts me, dude. And it continues to happen. And in multicam TV, we have a guy called a camera associate. And the camera associate's responsibility is to switch from multicam show. Jerry Seinfeld, you open wide on the shot, and then you go to the 2-shot of Jerry talking to George, and then you do a single on Kramer, and they talk, and it all works out. There's a person, and you can call it a switcher, the person who switches back and forth, that is not doing their job or is doing their job poorly. And the other one is, dude, use a split screen. You have that technology. Split screen off the interview with Katie and let us watch Idolo's score. Hopefully I'm not going to say that every time we do this. All right, moving on to the next one. What was your low, T-Bone?
Mate, I was reading a lot of comments, and I'm not sure if there's anyone in the online right now who's actually from Saquarema, but I read that there were better waves down the beach. And you can even look at that photo. You know, what do you call that end of the beach, Dave? I can't remember.
It's Barinha. is that right? But that end of the beach, actually the whole section of the beach looked better and looked more powerful. The waves that they got, for some reason, it wasn't refracting properly in there, or the sand, or I don't know what was going on, because I just don't have that knowledge, but it looked weak, man. And especially on the, I think it was a lower tide, it just was not working out. And down the beach, it was, it had a little more of a steep section that we could have seen a lot more action. I think it was weak in the finals, and or not on finals day. The finals, there were some waves, but
Yeah.
like poor Sawyer Lindblad sat there without any waves. It just wasn't right.
100%. So I guess my low would be, like if there's good waves down the beach, move down the beach. But I think because of the massive infrastructure on the beach, they've got the circus tents and the flying foxes and the Sahi bars, and but they're not prepared to move any infrastructure down, and it's a bit unfortunate. You want to see the best surfers in the world, having the best opportunities. They go all that way, so it's just a shame they don't utilize the best peak along the beach. So that's my low, mate. I mean, if you ask me, Brazil contest looks like a lot of fun. It looks more like a carnival, mate. Hence my shirt. I mean, I'd go over there for the party. I'm not sure if it's look at that. That
there you go.
I don't want to call that a low, but that's a carnival, right? That's a big party happening on that beach. Unfortunately, the waves don't back it up. Can you imagine if that was in front of, I don't know, Pipeline, J-Bay, Fiji? It'd be the greatest show on earth, but unfortunately not.
I agree with you so much in that footprint. It probably took them a month to build that thing. I mean, there were vendors, there were fake waves, there was all kinds of infrastructure. And once that thing's down, they're not moving the event. That's where the party is. And so it's too bad that they can't be more flexible. It's too bad that they can't have maybe a second setup down the beach. I don't know how they would do it. Or, you and I started talking about this last week, and we're going to show a clip, is Saquarema CT worthy? And this is controversial in that, dude, you just said it. It's the best party. The surfers have a great time. Everyone's into it. It's a great crowd, but is that what we want? Can we just watch an internet comp somewhere else? I would trade J-Bay. We're going to talk about the J-Bay Classic if we can get there, but I would trade J-Bay with nobody out and internet feed to a carnival to get waves, and Heidi called it a festival. She goes, that's Coachella on the beach, and she's right. And it reminds us both of Huntington Beach, has a similar big footprint, a lot of, hype and average waves. So let's play, dude. We got to play this. You sent me this. T-Bone sent me this. Check this out.
Damn it! Haven't Brazilian professional surfers been through enough as it is? Obviously with the whole judging debacle, knife and fork clown emoji, which has meant that Brazilian surfers have lost 20% of the last 10 world 20%. Titles. But no, that's not enough for the WSL. They got to keep digging that knife right in there and just keep traumatizing these poor Brazilian professional surfers who have worked so fucking hard to qualify for the championship tour, for the dream tour, only for the WSL to keep returning to Brazil and putting them out in those horse shit fucking waves that these surfers have tried so hard to get away from. It's just such a traumatic experience for these professional surfers, and you need to take a good look at yourself, WSL, and rectify this current situation. Knife and fork emoji. Fucking knife and fork emoji. Damn it!
So anyway, that is hilarious, and Luke is he's a talented comedian, I'm going to say. That's so funny. But he brings up a valid point, and Zaid says it here. I think Ipanema Barra de Tijuca. I'm not saying that right. Barra de Tijuca are better choices. That's an equally, it's a more powerful beach break, I think, but I don't know if it picks up as much swell, but nevertheless, it's a beach break. And I think we do need a beach break. How about Puerto Escondido? There's a beach break. How about that place?
Oh.
I'm going to play one more. This is what was on Rio Pro is the most consistent spot on the WSL tour. It's consistently shit. Did you see this one? From your most trusted news source, the Green Room Times.
Oh, the Green Room Times.
I don't know if you follow them. They're freaking funny too, dude.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
I don't know, man. My take is that maybe you turn this into a CS like a Huntington Beach and it becomes part of the CS tour. And you can still, I mean, half the people who show up are there for the party. And I won't say that. You know what? Maybe anyone out there from Brazil watching this can tell me if the fans are knowledgeable in the larger portion of the crowd about surfing and want the pros there. I guess they do want to see Gabriel Medina. So there's that. But I don't know, T-Bone. I don't know what to do about this. The WSL makes a lot of money off of this show.
100%. I mean, I don't think I think this wave, like, you know, the Challenger Series, they go to Brazil at the end of that Challenger tour.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember last year, it was terrible. And it's sad to see really good surfers, you know, your favorite surfers. Obviously, I have a little bit of bias towards some surfers I want to see qualify for CT, but when you see them last year was 1-2 foot absolute grovel, and you know they can do better. It's just unfortunate that they don't get that opportunity. And there's a lot of luck involved in this. I mean, local knowledge and, you know, having the reflexes and a little bit of intimate knowledge of the place helps. But, you know, for the real salty dog surfers, like myself, probably like yourself too, Dave, we want to see the best surfers in world-class waves. And it just doesn't meet that criteria. It looks awesome on the beach and looks like Coachella. I have to agree with Heidi. I was actually watching, even though the J-Bay Classic was on a little bit early, but I don't know why they didn't keep J-Bay on the schedule. I know this might be a bit controversial, but they should have changed them out.
I totally agree. And well said, man. Clip that, because that was a rope. I couldn't have said that better with myself. And Glenn jumps in with, I'll take Fiji or Chope's internet-only event over this circus every time. It's freaking June. How about Indo? Something somewhere has to be pumping. And yeah, Indo's not on the schedule at all. And we just saw Nias completely go off in a QS. Like, QS is getting better waves than the CT. And I want to double down on what you said. Like, people are trying to qualify. People are trying to get into the top 5, and they're slogging in beach break, and it's not cool. Let's move on. We want to now go into our segment. You be the judge. 0 to 2 is poor. 2 to 2.2 to 4.9 is fair. 5 to 6.4 is good. 6.5 to 7.9 is very good on the judging scale, and 8.0 to 10 is excellent. And I read all that because on the podcast, I've got that up on the screen and an image. And T-Bone, you be the judge. Give the judges a score that you like here.
Okay, no worries.
I put you on the spot.
Okay, so sorry, mate. You want me to judge? You mean the judge of the? What am I judging? Sorry.
You're sorry. I didn't make it super clear. You guys, we are judging the judges. How did the judges do? And we're going to judge the judges on the scores that they give to the surfers. We're going to judge them. How did they do in this event? How did the judges do? And you guys get into the chat and tell me what you think. And if it's not live, it's just a rebroadcast, comment down in the comments section, and I'll always answer those. It sometimes takes me time. So what do you think the judges deserve based on
Oh,
what they did.
mate, it's it's always interesting to see. Like I saw some really high scores for one-turn closeout maneuvers, and they get like a mid-7. To yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say more good. I mean, I understand some of the airs. I mean, I think the airs are pretty difficult in those conditions because some of those closeout sections were pretty heavy. So it takes a fair bit of skill to boost, on those closeout sections. But I'm going to say the judging, oh mate, it was probably 6. Let's say 6.5.
Nice. I put, I don't know if you can see it, 6.4 on my judging, on my tab. And I don't know if I can ever go into excellent unless, maybe in Tahiti, it was very good at the top of that scale, because it was so difficult to judge. But this, I agree with you. I think they overscored some maneuvers, and I feel like let's talk about one in particular. And Saeed brought, I didn't really analyze Leo's heat against Rio, but I think there was some controversy there. I don't know if you saw, T-Bone, the heat with Cole versus Gabriel Medina, and Cole in the final seconds needed a 4.3 or something like this. And he does an airdrop on the biggest, kind of gnarliest section of the entire heat and kind of cracks it and floats over it and lands it. Pretty powerful, like whitewater explosion kind of thing. And I'm like, holy shit, I think he just got that. And then my next thought is there going to be a riot on the beach? And there were several moments where I was like, is there going to be a riot on the beach? And like, does that influence the judges? Like if Cole came back with that score against Gabriel Medina, I don't know what would have happened. It wouldn't have been pretty. There would have been boos, or I don't know what would have happened, clown face emojis and pukey emojis. But, and this isn't, there's a small group of people in every society that are the trolls, and we know this. So that is not a generalization. That is just, that can happen on any beach. But anyway, in there, especially when you have a huge crowd, I gave them a 6.4. I think for the most part, they did a good job. If anyone wants to disagree, please let us know in the comments below or point out some specific examples. So that is Judge the Judge. We'll do that each time in our post-heat show. You know what I want to do next is
Hey, Dave,
sorry.
Just quickly, mate. What I will say, you got to ask yourself, did the best surfers win the event? And I think the judges, Italo, Iago were probably the top 2 surfers of the event, and same with Katie Simmers. So you could say that the judges got it right. One last thing, Dave, I did have a look at some of the scores, and you would think the local judges would be giving higher scores. I mean, the Brazilian judges, but it was the American judges, the Australian judges were giving the likes of Iago and Italo, the highest scores throughout the event. So sometimes we think that the local judges favour the local surfers, but not the case, mate. Not the case.
I think that is spot on, and that has happened in the past too. In these controversies, it turns out it was the Brazilian judges who underscored their countrymen. I think you've got a great point there, and Joe Pascal says Cole had an 8 on his previous wave, undeserved, I think. I think I agree with that too, Joe. Overall, I think if you look at it as overall, who should have won the heat or who should have won the event, I think that's a good perspective to have. The judges really, I don't know. I want to see the person I think that won the event win the event, and I think we did. I totally agree with that. Let's move on to our fun new game called Hit or Miss. Ages 10 plus. So here we go. What we're going to do on Hit or Miss is, and tell us in the comments if it's a hit or a miss. On the podcast, I'm going to show photos, but you'll get the idea of what it is when I talk about it. So we'll start with hit or miss. The first hit or miss is going to be the trophy. T-Bone, what do you think?
Is that a wave, mate, or
Is it a hit or a miss? That is a wave. That is a two-way peak.
I'm calling it a miss. It doesn't look too. I'm calling it a miss, mate. It's a little bit of wood with a little bit of writing and I don't know what it looks. I don't know what it looks like. Close out beachy.
You put the clip. So listen, it's a two-way peak. It's a piece of art. It's a complete hit for me. It's probably one of my favorite trophies. I like it. I just think it's sleek and cool, but it does not represent. If it was truly representative of Saquarema, you'd have a bunch of like crowd on the front of that, and it wouldn't be one clean peak. But let's forget about all that. Let's talk about the piece itself. It's consistently the same. I love the thing. I think it's cool. I love this game too because we both disagree, and we'll probably disagree. We might disagree on this next one. You ready? Hit or miss, everybody. Get into the comments. The mascot.
What the hell?
What is that?
What is it? What is it, man? What is it? Is that like a Brazilian bird or something? Or
I think it must be a local parrot or something. I have no idea. I think his name's Sake or Sakwe or something. Total miss. That I don't know. Should every event have like a cartoonish mascot? What would be the mascot in WA, T-Bone?
well,
A can of beer, like, hey.
no, but it's funny, like in Australian rules football, our team's called the West Coast Eagles. We've actually got a eagle, a proper bird, a real bird.
It looks like a penguin, somebody said. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think once you get into mascots on the beach, that's when you know it's a carnival. Let's go to the next one.
Hey, dude, just quickly, that mascot.
Yep.
I got told that's Elo in that mascot.
His punishment is to be out in the heat on the beach with 10,000 people around him wearing the mascot. Dude, he can't do anything wrong. Nobody can hear him talk. He can't really touch anybody because his arms are off. Exactly.
He's just sweating he's just sweating in there, paying for his sins.
Dude, that is hilarious. All right, next one, meditation. There's a lot of meditating going on before the heats. Is it a hit or a miss?
Dude, I'm a bit it's a hit. It seems to work for young Griffin, mate. I don't know how he does it with 40,000 people on the beach. It's a hit. It's working for him. I'd love to know what music he's listening to. Is it Grateful Dead? Is it
It's the Barrel Podcast, I heard.
Yeah, it's is it the Bee Gees? I mean, who knows? I'd love to know.
I agree. It's a hit. It's just different for us, and everyone seems to be doing it. Gabriel Medina for years has done that weird thing with his. He just stands out there, and that's freaking cool, dude. I think it just gets him to that place. And by the way, Griffin wrote. He has a journal, and he actually took a picture of his journal entry, which is pretty cool, man. If you follow him on Instagram. So I think it's different from when we grew up and watched surfing, and those guys would hit the beach hungover, and they'd already be down the beach paddling out. There wouldn't any prep. Like maybe they do a little stretch and wash off last night's party and like get
Finish
on
the
it.
Last night's beer.
Yeah, and so it's like I love that it's they're athletes now, and they're doing proper prep work. The other thing is now, speaking of prep work, how about the leg thing? You know where they put the little strap and they run around like chickens with the leg thing? Hit or miss?
Dude, I do that.
You do?
Yeah.
Nice. It's a miss. I mean, it's hit then.
It's a hit for my little chicken legs, mate. It's as you get old, as you know, Dave, you've got to warm up yourself. I mean, I don't take it down the beach with me,
right.
But I think it's good. It's a hit, mate. It warms up all your ligaments and tendons, and it gets you ready to perform at 100%. So it's a hit, mate.
I love it. And there's a possible miss here, which is copying your friend's hair, Cole Houshman's hair on Griffin's head. Possible miss there. Let's move on. The next one, there's a hit and a miss possibility here. There's two in this photo. The backflip. Let's start with the backflip. The Idolo Ferreira celebratory backflip. Hit or miss?
Mate, one day he's going to snap both his knees off and
Totally.
be off tour. You know, sometimes you see it on the UFC where well, they try to stop the fighters from doing a backflip off the top of the cage because they've injured themselves. So you're not going to stop Idolo. Hey, it's a hit. It just sends the crowd into a more of a frenzy, mate. But
yeah.
But it'd be an egg on the face if he injures himself. That wouldn't be such a hit, would it?
Dude, he can't help himself. And I remember in a heat, I can't remember who the heat was in this Rio event, and he was way ahead. I mean, he had comboed somebody so badly, and he's still going full force, getting huge airs and not stopping. And Mitchell Salazar's like, well, I think he should pack it in and play it conservative. And Strider was like, dude, don't rain in his parade. That's Idolo being Idolo. And, that's what he's going to do. He's going to do backflips. Yeah, exactly. He's going to do airs. And I think there's something to be said for just going for it. And you don't get injured when you do that if you hold back or you're thinking about it. The possible miss here is, how about those shorts, dude?
I know. Real 80s, aren't they? Real 80s style.
I thought so too. And dude, if you look, their Vivo Rio Pro, the Vivo company, must have slipped like 20 grand in the pocket and said, hey, dude, if you wear these ugly ass 90s MC Hammer shorts, we'll give you that. You keep that 20 grand. It's got to be. But those things stood out, especially when he was in the air. They did stand out. So there's that.
How are those things, man?
They're crazy. Hit or miss. Here it is. What do you guys think? I really need to hear from you guys on this one. What do you guys think about the stage walk? And T-Bone sent me this because I think where it's going is a possible. Well, wait, before we get to that, here is probably the most awesome photo that I pulled from their Instagram. That's Katie and Sawyer when they were little, and look at them at the Vivo Rio Pro.
Wow.
How
that's
freaking
cool, man.
How cool is that? It's probably some contest down in San Diego somewhere or Orange County. And I love that shot. Anyway, here is this right here is becoming possibly this. Could you see I'm going to send the one that, hold on. T-Bone sent me this. Of course he sent me this. Is this what you want, T-Bone?
Yeah, man. So I want to see the surfers UFC style. Can you imagine if Gabriel Medina puts face paint on and gets the Brazilian, war paint on, and he's going face to face with Jordy Smith just before they paddle out? Bring it on, mate.
I'm so down, but I have to be honest, man. I don't know if I love this. Before they had a whole arch. Remember last year they had like a whole structure and arch and they walked through it. And remember in the finals 2 years ago, they did a let's get ready to rumble. Chris Cote was like in this corner and he would introduce them and they come up and Idolo went jumping off the stairs. And I don't know. I'm mixed on it, man. I'm old school. I want to see them walk out and do their thing and go out and surf on the sand. But
it's entertainment, mate. I just think
it is.
It's. I mean, they only do it in Brazil, right? But I just think if they're up on the stage, just have a face-off.
I could see it would be like Griffin and Gabriel Medina and. Jesse Miley Dyler could be in the middle of it. What's that dude's name? UFC Dana
White.
Dana White. She would be the Dana White, and she could certainly break those two up. Hey guys, keep it cool.
Just put the penguin mascot in the middle of them, mate.
For sure, man. It's so funny. Hey, let's move on to rankings. I don't know how we're doing on time. Yeah, we're getting close. I don't know what we're going to get through today. We had a pretty busy agenda. Rather see them waxing up, says Joe. I think it's good they did it in a similar way in Tokyo in 2020. I don't remember that, but it's entertainment. You're right about that, T-Bone, for sure. Let me go to the rankings. I want to look at the rankings, dude. So here we are. John number one, way ahead, 10,000 ahead on points. You know what? What Glenn was saying earlier, if Griffin won, he still could not become champion. So right now, in the old system, John would be the champion. And if y'all can't see that, I'm going to read off the rankings right now. John's number one. Griffin is number two. Jack Robinson, number three. Number four is Elo Fajeda based on his win. Number five, slipping pretty hard, is Ethan Ewing. And then number six, knocking on the door, T-Bone's pick, Yago Dora. Then Jordy still pretty strong, right on the heels. Those last three are all tied at 31,000. That's Ethan Ewing, Yago Dora, and Jordy Smith. And then way back with the dark horse blinders on is Gabriel Medina with 28,000 points. I think he's going to have some things happen. And I have our statistician doing some work and I'll present that in a preview. But who do you think is going to make the final five, T-Bone?
Oh, I mean, tell you what, mate. I mean, obviously, John, I think Griffin has obviously got enough points. John, Griffin, Jack, Idolo. I think that top four's locked in. But Yago Dora, 30 points. 30 points out from the top five. Jordy, and look who's number 8. Gabriel Medina. I mean, does he need a final to get into the 5? I mean,
I think he would. So let's say like this. Second place is 7,800. First place is 10,000. Second place is 7,800. Then 4,745 for your semifinals. So Gabriel Medina is going to probably need some people to flame out early and to get at least a semifinal. I mean, if he gets less than semifinals, I don't think it's going to happen for him. But check this out. This is his way. And I can tell you, this is not Ethan Ewing's way. Everyone else in there, I think it's their way. I think Elo's going to go okay there. I think Jack's been struggling a little bit, but I think this will be his wave. God, but Yago, Jordy, and Gabriel. If I was to call it, I'd say Ethan's out and Yago's in, like you're saying. I don't think Gabriel Medina is going to make it. I don't. I think he should.
Hey, dude, how's this for a scenario? Let's say Idolo and Ethan go out very early and Yago and Jordy jump in.
Totally could happen.
Jordy, I mean, I didn't check the stats on Jordy at Fiji, but Jordy's good, man. Big turns on that Tavarua, can ride the barrel. Jordy's, I don't know, he's another dark horse. Jordy,
he's surfing well too. I agree with that, and I could see now. Remember, Idolo came off of his win in Tahiti and laid an egg in El Salvador in his very next event, and I did all the stats on that. That most surfers get a 17th after a first, and he could possibly do that. But I think the stakes are really high on this one. I could see him coming out with extra Red Bulls and pulling off. But yeah, I mean, that scenario is real. Jordy, they're all, so listen, Ethan, Yago, and Jordy are all tied at roughly 31,000, 32,000 roughly points. And then the next echelon at third and fourth is 34,000 points. And then John Untouchable. Hey, guess what? Holly Heidi's in. She says, you see that?
Nice shirt, T-Bone. Yeah, I've just come from Coachella, just straight from Brazil, Heidi. So thanks for noticing.
We were just talking about Coachella, Heidi, and I credited you with that. Hey, let's go to the women's rankings real quickly, and this is pretty interesting. I'm going to say Caitlin, Caroline, Brisa, all at 40,000 plus points. Caitlin way ahead with 48,000 points. And by the way, for those listening in the podcast, number 1 is Caitlin Simmers. Number 2 is Carolyn Marks. Number 3 in the world, Brisa Hennessy. Number 4, Molly Picklum. And number 5, Gabriella Bryan, who with that semifinals finish got herself in the top 5. Now, outside of that is Joanne DeFay right behind them and Tatiana Weston Webb. Sawyer Lindblad, look at that. She's at 32,000 at number 8, 32,000 points. You know, she does this thing where she gets runners up. And if she did that here, man, she could get herself. Remember, she served pretty well in Tahiti. Can you imagine she makes a top 5?
Oh, that'd be incredible. Rookie year at a hometown. Oh, I'm sure it's possible mathematically. It's just a lot of things have got to go your way. Hey, it's sort of similar to the men's, don't you think? That you've got surfers just hovering below Joanne and Tatiana that all have a good chance, but man, geez, it's tight, isn't it? It's tight, both men and women in that sort of battling for that potentially that 4th, 5th position. Probably more so the 5th position, but there's not a lot in it, mate. If Molly Picklum has a shocker, it's up for grabs. It's going to be.
What's she do? What's going on with her, man? She's had some. I mean, I'm looking at it now. She's in the quarters, or no, is that semis? Yeah, she's been in the quarters the last couple of events, but you really, in the women's, need to make it to the semis to make an impact. So I don't know. This wave is perfect for Molly. And I keep thinking of Cloudbreak as it's going to be a big barrel. Let's say that it's going to be a big barrel. Molly's got a way better chance at that. I think the problem is Gabriella Bryan. This is not necessarily her wave. I mean, compared to Molly, I'd pick Molly over Gabriella Bryan in a larger barrel. I would. And probably I'd pick Tati over Joanne DeFay, number 7 over number 6, over Joanne DeFay, Tati's barrel riding skills. And surprisingly, Sawyer's in that conversation too with what she showed me in Tahiti.
Hey, dude, just remember, sometimes Fiji can be a lot of turns as well. It's not obviously it's not like Tahiti where it's just a tube. I mean, there's a lot of turn sections and obviously lining up for the barrel. And Gabriella Bryant's backhand is, it's pretty solid. It's very powerful, and it could probably suit Cloudbreak,
I think I agree with that. There are turns in between barrels or sections, and you really have to get in rhythm with that wave. And I think those who have some experience are going to probably have a better shot at this. I think, and speaking of that, Brisa Hennessy, to me, has a real chance to win this event. She spent a lot of time there with her dad working on Nemotu, and I've seen a lot of clips of her setting up the tube. It's kind of a setup turn, but you're right. There's different directions where it could just be, I would love that too, man. It was just a clean left wall and they could just go to town on it. Like how much fun would that be to watch, man? All right. So we hit the rankings. T-Bone, we're at an hour. I might skip the J-Bay Classic for another time. I had a highlight. You know what? Let's just watch. Dude, nothing gets me happier than watching Steph Gilmore. Let's just watch. Let's just watch Steph Gilmore. Man. Watch this. Oh, fuck. I love her surfing. Sorry, I dropped an F-bomb. Dude, look at that.
I know, dude. Yeah. She was riding quite an unusual board. Did you see the nose on it?
Don't drop in on me, nose.
Mate, it's just pure art, isn't it? When you watch her go down the line at J-Bay.
It just makes me happy, like her surfing. And then Mikey February, dude. These are so this J-Bay Classic, I think it was a great event. I wish they would have had a little more coverage of it. Yeah. I'd rather watch this than some of the Rio event. This is Sally. Her style isn't my favorite, but she sure knows how to hit it, doesn't she? Like,
Yeah,
look
she
at
does.
she keeps up with it. She has that little layback, dropped her wallet. Not sure who this is. I thought there was a.
Is that Sean Holmes?
Oh no, you know who that is? That is Federico
Oh,
Moraes,
sorry. Yeah, Federico Moraes. Yeah, I mean,
who won.
He won, exactly.
And then this is the other winner, Sarah Baum, who's a great surfer, man. She's won. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, mate, she's going to the Olympics. She'll be representing South Africa at Tahiti. So.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't recognize this guy.
Mark Okalupo,
dude. Aki, still relevant. Relevant. I can't.
But for me, mate, Mikey February, what he does at J-Bar, the style, the speed, and just the precision. And I love those turns where he digs both his arms behind him and just really digs in and cuts back. It's so dynamic and so good to watch.
Yeah. I think, God, I could watch this all day. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go to Stab High. Let's go to Stab. We're just going to talk about Stab High and then wrap this. How are you for 5 more minutes, T-Bone? Or you got to run?
I've probably got about 3 minutes, mate.
Okay, tell you what. What I think we might do is, let's just do the trivia. I'm gonna 3 minutes. Let's see what I can do. Here is. Whoa! Let me turn the volume off. There's just a bunch of cool airs, and I can't name what half of them are. And I was gonna have our trivia based around that. I was gonna show you a couple clips. Let me show this clip real quick. This is that skateboarder girl, Patty Zhao, or snowboarder, Olympics snowboarder. She learned how to surf in a pool. And then this is Ian Crane. Somebody tell me what this is in the comments. I have no idea. A whirly bird, a slob. I have no idea. Okay. And here's our trivia. First person to name this wins a prize. And it's pretty easy because they played it a lot. Here we go with Mason Ho. What is this air called? If you've won before, I can't give you the prize. Let us know what you think. And that is your trivia. Let's play it again.
You do them all the time, don't you, mate?
I do.
So,
dude, if I get air, it's an accident. Now, let's be honest. And that was 20 years ago.
So people who are listening to this, Dave, Mason Ho on his forehand does a massive punt, but then takes his foot off, and he sort of kicks his foot, doesn't he?
Thank you. So, yeah, for those of you, thanks, T-Bone. You gotta cover me on that. And the other one, Zaid thinks it was an Indy 360. Hey, I'm gonna stay on the show and talk a little bit about Stab and wrap this thing up. But actually, I think I'm just gonna wrap it up. If there are no winners, I'll wait until there's a winner. But I'm going to say, T-Bone, thanks for joining me. Epic show. And July 20th will be our next show. And that will be an Olympic live show, Olympic preview. We will make our medal picks, bronze, silver, gold, and you will make your medal picks. And I'm going to come up with some kind of contest for that as well. I'll have a preview video, but the Olympics are coming, and T-Bone and I will have a show, and we may even do one before if there's some surf news.
Can't wait, mate.
Epic shirt. Appreciate everything, man. You're bringing it today.
Yeah, mate. Carnaval spirit.
Right on, man. I'll catch you later.
Catch you guys. See you, man. Cheers,
right.
guys.
Later.
Ciao.
All right, I'm gonna end stream, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll catch that trivia on the next one.